great power comes great responsibility.
Let's go.
Thank you, Diana. Welcome to Comics League Dark. I am your host, Jared, the bearded Lord of Comics. And today we have a packed show for you all today. But let's introduce the panel of esteemed panelists and Nick. So let's, if this thing plays.
I am Phoenix!
Hello, dear sir.
Fluff off.
General Kenobi!
You are a bold one. So,
Hello there.
General Kenobi. So today we are going to be discussing.
This is the way.
Yes, this is the way. Actually, you know what? We might as well start with that. Do you guys want to start with the
roll the clip.
topic? Might as well. Hey, it fits. Actually, that's a good idea. So to introduce this one, I might as well play the very special clip. Let me make sure I still have it. Yes, I do.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Before we start, can I just say, have you guys noticed, like, it's really weird that a new Star Wars movie gets announced? A new Star Wars movie, and it barely gets a whimper. Like it gets some mention. Like Star Wars announcements should break the internet. Like, that should be a big deal. But, like, it got announced, like, people talked about it, but, like, people are like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. Like it's
Well, Nick,
got a lukewarm reception at best.
there's a very important reason for that. What was the first Star Wars movie announced of the two?
The Blue Milk movie.
Yeah, it's Rey. That's why. That is why, sir. That's the problem. The problem with it is that, so the sequel trilogy didn't do what Disney thought it would, at least critically.
Because somehow Palpatine returning wasn't that good of a idea after all.
How the heck? Hey, what's up, David? How the heck is that a line in a movie? And it's like they're doubling down on what hasn't worked, and that's the problem. It's very, very, very stupid. And then here's the interesting thing, and then JJheat, I'll get your thoughts on this. Isn't it kind of interesting that the minute we get this lukewarm reception to Rey, all of a sudden they announce a Mandalorian and Grogu movie is in development? Isn't that a little, like, fortuitous?
They really don't want to make a season 4, but I think the larger conversation, because you got to look at this from a business standpoint. So from a business standpoint, you got to play in the trends, you got to factor what your core audience is, and then basically distribute how far your audience ranges for your overall company and your shares and whatnot. So let's say, for example, the MCU, Marvel, superheroes, that's more of a male-centric brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've had the late 90s, early 2000s, you had Disney princesses and all this, with mostly Disney being known for that, with a little bit of Pixar on the side, largely a female-centric brand. So and ever since the Marvel acquisition, I believe it was 2008, don't quote me on that, but I believe the Marvel acquisition was in 2008. But even if you factored that, you already had your male alternative based on your current optics if you're Disney.
Yeah.
But if you break it down, so this does go somewhere. Okay, I promise.
Okay.
But make it a long story short, trying to completely alienate the audience, at least from an objective standpoint, turning Star Wars into a more girl-centric brand. You've seen the bottom line. We've seen the merchandise sales. It didn't work, or at least not the way Disney wanted. Like,
look at any Ollie's and like the when you go to Ollie's and look at the Star Wars toys, it's all Rose Tico and Rey figures.
Bro, I was at an Ollie's like a few weeks ago, and it was all Eternals figures. I think there was, like, I think I saw there were some Solo figures still there.
I enjoyed Solo, but
It was meh.
Rogue One, I think, was the best Disney era Star Wars
Rogue
movie.
One
Oh,
is-
hands down. Hands
Rogue
down.
One is great, and I will not hear any otherwise.
Exactly. David says, do people really want a Rey movie? The answer is, I don't think so. I mean, some people do, but the thing is,
No.
yes, thank you. I need that. That's going to be one of my 2024 clips. The thing about Rey is they took what could have been a good idea and they damaged the Rey brand.
See, the thing is, I want my leading actors to be capable of more than 3 facial expressions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. Daisy.
No offense to
Ridley
Daisy Ridley. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but her acting ability is not that good.
At least
And
not
let
in
it be
those
clear.
movies.
I hate to cut you off, Jared.
Yeah, go ahead.
But let it be clear, there are notorious movies and shows where a female actress or a female lead can carry it. You have the original Alien movie with Ridley. You have Kill Bill. You have
Electra.
I
I almost got you to say it.
You almost
I
got
almost
me.
got you to say it.
You almost had me.
To be fair, Jennifer Garner is actually really, really good actress.
Yes.
And
She's
he's not the
interesting.
reason that he's not the reason that movie bombed.
Oh
Oh,
boy,
sorry.
let me tell you, I recently, like the other day, watched it for the first time because I was wondering how bad could it be. Now I understand. My
you
God, was that horrible?
Like,
Which
look
is
at her
worse,
in the
Elektra
Daredevil
or
movie.
Halle Berry Catwoman.
Catwoman.
I haven't watched Catwoman yet. That may be the next one on my list.
Oh, that's April
Catwoman.
Fool's for sure.
Okay, I have seen Catwoman. I lost 9. I literally lost 9 lives in 9 years of my life because of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is pure cringe.
David says, I think people would love a Mando movie after season 1. That would have been a perfect time to cash in on the series, but now it's been multiple seasons. So, yeah. And the other thing is, when you have a recent season that wasn't the biggest hit, it may not be the best idea. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Atchison says, by the way, I have nothing but apathy for Star Wars. I used to be the biggest Star Wars nerd around. I still have my old collection of expanded universe books. Oh, dude.
See, the other big problem that's staring us in the face is how season 3 ended. They basically retired Mando and Grogu. Like, he rode off to the sunset. He's got his cabin. He gets to raise Grogu in peace as his son. They're a clan of 2. And they get to live their lives. And it's like, oh, like, so you're gonna rip them away from what was even the point of the ending of season 3 if you're just gonna immediately take them out of that?
Yeah, it could be they're gonna do one of those stereotypical stories about the guy does retire, but then an incident happens that makes him want to like come out of retirement. But still,
Oh, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
yeah, that's because there's no other like story way for it to even remotely make sense. Because I agree with you, Nick. They kind of, if they had just ended Mando there and said we're not going to do any more Mando seasons, that would have been fine. But
that's livable.
Also, how much do you want to bet there's gonna be a Force Ghost Yoda talk to Grogu?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
Bringing back Grogu was a mistake. Well, yeah, bringing him back in another person's show, because you know what's kind of funny. One of the complaints of Mando, of the recent season of Mando, is people ask, "Why is Grogu with Mando? I thought he went with Luke." And the funny part is because no one watched Book of Boba Fett.
Like, why?
And the other thing is, Grogu is almost entirely superfluous to the plot of season 3. Like he does like maybe 1 or 2 things at best that could have been done by other people, but like he's just there for most
the
season
last
3.
episode is where he really is like needed because of that firewall, but still it's like, yeah, I agree with you, Nick. He really had no reason to be there. What were you saying, JJheat?
The Book of Boba Fett aside, you easily could have, if you wanted Grogu to be in the season 3 finale with the Darksaber and Moff Gideon, all you had to do is create a filler episode where Mando actually teams up with Luke Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker fights alongside the Mandalorians to stop the return of the Empire. I mean, seriously, this was such an easy fix. Like, you didn't really need to give Book of Boba Fett an entire filler episode, let's call it for what it is, just for supplemental material. Like,
well, to be fair, that's that episode is the only like part of the series that most people actually care about. So they might have actually like done the right thing.
And we did get a Power Ranger sequence out of it. Sorry, I had to.
When the kids roll up in the bikes, I swear I heard Zordon said, "Find me." I swear I heard Boba say, "Find me some teenagers with attitude."
Also, I'm gonna say something, and you guys are instantly gonna know what I'm saying. I'm gonna try spitting. That's a cool trick.
Oh my god! By the way, Nick,
exactly the moment I'm talking about.
Nick, for an edit, you have to take the scene of them rolling up in those little red and those multicolored bikes and pipe in the Power Rangers theme.
Actually, no. I'm gonna do like a short where it's like he's spinning. I'm gonna try spinning, and then it's like you spin me.
Oh yeah, that works. David Hernandez says a Star Wars movie would be awesome. Would be like a training Kylo training movie would be tight, and some Knights of Ren action maybe.
I mean, if they actually did anything with the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, because here's the thing: that they teased them twice, and we thought we were gonna get the Knights of Ren and the Rise of Skywalker, but they just got killed off like really easily.
Like they still haven't done anything with the Rise of Sky with the Knights of Ren.
To be fair, he couldn't even finish Boba. But what are we saying, JJheat?
I may be misremembering, so please be sure to correct me, Nick. But I'm pretty sure Kylo Ren and Rey are just ripoffs of Jace and Lena Skywalker from the EU.
Jason, Jaina, but yes.
Jason, Jaina. Okay, thanks.
What it is, you know how like when comic book writers invent characters that are just like other characters, but they invent them so they can get royalties?
So you mean Punchline?
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me, at least. Because, like, Kylo goes through the exact same arc as Darth Caedus.
I mean, I said this on my stream earlier, but Rey is just basically Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, this is my 100% real original OC. Please don't steal.
And then I'm pretty sure in an interview she said we don't have like stories and pages of story.
Oh
material.
my god!
Wait,
the psychos just keep getting younger.
And actually,
clip is warranted.
Or Catholic
the internet responded to that statement.
You see, Kathleen, you have a lot of legends that you can draw upon. An entire legendary.
It's almost like you're the head of a legendary IP.
I was referring to Legends continuity, but
no, I was too. I was just trying to even more put it in there. It's been told you can become a Disney legend if you do well at this job.
Oh dear God!
Oh, he's not going to drop this.
She's not going to. No, never. Has
Fluff
anyone
off.
ever seen a franchise get bad this quickly? No. And then Atchison says, "Yeah."
I mean, I'm a Wheel of Time fan, so yes.
What are you talking about? Wheel of Time is peak. That J. Jonah laugh never gets old. Yes, exactly. It never does. It never does. But I think really, when it comes to Mando, honestly, here's the thing. I am convinced that the Mando movie announcement was because what happened with the Rey movie to rub salt on an open wound and then light that open wound on fire. The director of Rey said, it's high time a woman was in charge of charting Star Wars stories. And I'm like, how about the women that were behind Mando? But okay. Then she said she wants to make a movie that makes men uncomfortable.
Okay. I need to shed some context on this.
Okay, go ahead.
She said that 7 years ago. Also, it was in relation because she's a Pakistani director, and she was talking about like the people of her country, and she was trying to fight against like the sexist people of like the Muslim countries.
That makes sense. I got that.
But it's that being said, I'm not excusing her. She could very well still be this like bad person, but I at least wanted to add some context.
Well, I'm not saying she's a bad person. It's just, for one thing, I wish she didn't say it's a high time a woman was in charge because, and David brings up an excellent point, your literal boss has been in charge of Star Wars for 5 years and running into the ground.
That I'm not going to excuse. That I'm not even going to try. Yeah, that's bull crap.
That is utter. That's my problem with a lot of these hires is that they tend to think that they are the first to do something. Oh, comics have never been diverse. Oh, screw you.
Didn't you know nothing happened before 2015? Jennifer Lawrence was the first female action star.
Yeah,
I'm never
exactly.
gonna let her live that down. I am never
Yeah,
gonna let her live that down.
exactly. She is the Ellen Ripley of movies.
No.
Even before that, there was-
Don't you realize Ellen Ripley owes her career because if Jennifer Lawrence did not star as Katniss Everdeen in 2010, that opened the door for Ellen Ripley, for Sigourney Weaver to play Ellen Ripley in 1978.
Yeah, Nick, what happened was later,
Wait,
a
is this
couple of
Quantum
years
Leap?
from now.
I'm confused.
Wait, later on, we will invent time travel, and then Jennifer Lawrence will go back in time to convince the studio execs to authorize Alien and Terminator. So
Are you
really,
saying-
she was the first female action movie star.
Are you saying Jennifer
Okay,
Lawrence
so we
is a
are
Time
using
Lord?
Quantum Leap. Okay.
So Jennifer Lawrence is a Time Lord. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Hollywood is full of narcissists. Yes, thank you. And did you know Black Panther didn't exist until Coogler made a movie about him? Yeah, isn't that weird?
Okay. Fun fact. Did you know that Wesley Snipes wanted to make a Black Panther movie in the 90s?
Really?
Can you imagine like 1999 a Black Panther movie comes out?
That would have been dope.
I paid good money to see that.
Wait, unless they make it like Steel, because we know, because
had to bring Steel into
I still
this,
haven't
man.
seen that one either. I need to watch that. There's a
No,
lot of
the
bad
reason
superhero movies I want to watch.
The reason I say 99 is because Blade came out in 97. So let's assuming Blade comes out, it's really popular. They uses that momentum to get the Black Panther movie made. Turnaround for movies back then was around 2 years, so 99 would be around when Black Panther come out, given this time frame.
That'll be fun. But so which one of the? Let's assume they both come out. Which one are you the most excited for? If you have to see one.
In my opinion,
I'm really excited for watching my toast get burnt. That's what I'm excited for.
Oh yeah, the other thing I just wanted to bring up, JJheat, before you answer this. How much you want to bet this is just so they don't have to make a Mando season 4 show? This is going to be Mando season 4.
The other thing I'm wondering about is how does this tie in to to Filoni's like him tying, like he's supposed to tie together this quarter of the universe up with a movie. Like we've heard nothing about it.
I think that this is that movie.
But no, John, like they barely mentioned, like they say flat out, this is Jon Favreau's movie. Like Dave Filoni is only contributing. This is like they were very upfront. Like this is Jon Like also, you love how it's like, oh, we're going back to the guy who made Mando great. We're not going to talk the parts who ruined Mando.
See, I don't blame Dave Filoni entirely for what happened with Mando. I blame it more of a lot of studio people on there.
If you look at the way Dave Filoni talks, and now that Dave Filoni has had more control, okay, Dave Filoni's a hack. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Dave Filoni is a hack, and that's my opinion.
Okay, you're allowed to be wrong. But anyway, David goes, I'm actually more excited for the Rey movie for all the wrong reasons. Blasphemy! I need.
I mean, at the very least, we'll have some new memes to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have some more memes. But yeah, Atchison agrees with you, Nick. But
Mike Keane.
So,
quick honorable mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to get the honorable mention out the way. Watching paint dry would be more entertaining than both of these options. But if I had to choose,
watching Justice League would be more entertaining.
Okay.
Okay. Jared, JJheat, I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you had to watch Gotham Knights for 10 hours or watch the Rey movie once, what would you choose?
After much consideration and research for our review Monday, quick plug, my official Gotham Knights review will be Monday night at 7 p.m. EST. But I choose the Rey movie. I choose. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I knew going in it was gonna be bad, but
I like those odds.
Oh, that was nice.
You're not going to break me though. Just because I can see something is bad doesn't mean you're gonna break me.
Challenge accepted, my friend.
You can't break
Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. So I think that's enough Star Wars for 1 week. Let's transition to another topic. Now, what topic do you guys want to talk about? Marvel topics or DC?
Let's hop on the Sacred Timeline.
Okay, so this is a good one. Well, let me see if I have a good transition for this one. Screw it. Netflix Marvel is canon.
What?
You can smell the
Basically.
desperation for Disney. You can smell the desperation.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Why else would they use like Daredevil and Kingpin so much in the Echo trailer? And again, I haven't seen the show. I probably am not going to see it for a while. But the thing is, you notice they really emphasized Daredevil. They showed him in the suit. And then they do this. Methinks that they're trying to use the Netflix show to try and boost up Echo's numbers.
Here's how you know they changed their plans. Because when Daredevil showed up in She-Hulk, he had a different suit. And they were very mum about if Netflix was canon or not. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they said they're doing Daredevil Born Again, which is and I think they even okay, we'll get to that. But like they were very clear, this isn't the Netflix. This is we'll take elements of it, but this is like a variant of it kind of thing. And now all of a sudden the Netflix stuff is canon because now all of a sudden when Daredevil shows up, he's in the Netflix suit. Like why isn't he in the yellow suit? Like now that I've actually seen the yellow suit, it's not the worst thing ever.
It's actually comic accurate. I mean, I have the action figure.
The initial comic book run anyway. The
initial, yeah, because it's basically this suit right here.
I mean, a more armorized version of it.
Yeah, yes. Obviously.
But the thing is, in Echo, he shows up in the Netflix suit. Like why all of a sudden change the suit? Because
now, the rumor is it could be a flashback.
Okay. Point. But like, why make the Netflix shows? Also, please highlight Daisy and Pale because doesn't need.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Dave. The Netflix shows are only decanonized because of Kevin Feige's ego, and his stock has dropped since then. At this point, it's pretty obvious. Ike Perlmutter was the one key. Yeah, because here's the thing. Here's what Phase 4 did. I'm going to keep this up. Here's what Phase 4 did. It showed people. It showed that maybe Feige is not the big Marvel dude that everyone thought he was.
I have some pushback. So, I do like because the thing is, you could make the argument Perlmutter was a bit of a bellwether and he did kind of keep Feige in check. Perlmutter did do a lot of damage. Like for example,
he did.
Perlmutter Perlmutter literally said all black people look the same. Like he didn't want Black Panther to appear in Civil War, and he originally didn't want to pony up the money for Robert Downey Jr. to appear in Civil War, and he's also the reason why we didn't get a Black Panther movie. Now,
he's also the reason why we didn't get a Black Widow movie at the right time.
I think that's what I was trying to say, but yeah. And so while I agree, it's nice that we're not Perlmutter's racist, sexist, blah blah blah. And it's like, yes, he was actually it's more of a nuanced take. I think we're kind of settling on now.
Yeah, but really, as it applies to Kevin Feige, I think people have seen that with Phase 4 that because Phase 4 was Feige unrestrained, and look what happened.
I gotta disagree. Okay, Phase 4 was Feige plugged out because you got to realize, Phase 4 Feige kind of took a step back and he created because remember you had that woman, was it Valerie or something?
I don't know who that is.
But there's a woman who was kind of running the day-to-day operations, the special effects. She's kind of the one who kind of really tanked Phase 4. And remember, she got fired.
But he's still the overseer who has to approve all this stuff.
So he's still somewhat responsible.
Agreed. Yeah. But he wasn't in the trenches like he was in
No, but still, but what I mean is that this showed that maybe his decision making is not the best.
And before
I'm just trying to inject nuance. That's all.
Well, yeah, that's true, and I appreciate that, Nick. And Atchison, yes, they should have just rebooted and had their first film be the Fantastic Four. True, and all they have to do is listen to their audience and put out good stuff. I don't get why this is so hard for these people. Warner Brothers is no better.
Imagine a Silver Age style MCU where it's all set in the 60s. Like imagine
That would honestly be really cool.
Okay. They do a Silver Age Spider-Man movie directed by Sam Raimi.
And he has like the webs on the armpits. They do the Ditko costume.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a passion project.
They
for 'em.
kind of did the Ditko costume in Far From Home, kind of.
They tried it.
But like legit, like not a tech suit from Stark, legit, like cloth and all that stuff. Virtue signaling is more important. Duh. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, silly girl. But going back to this, see, and I was talking to my friend Tyler about this today. The thing about it is that you could have taken these shows as canon up to a point because Netflix references the Battle of New York at one point. Because they reference, oh yeah, and aliens were falling from the sky at some point.
All right. Okay, here's what I need to explain. The Netflix shows were set up to be in the MCU. Like everything that happens in the movies happened in the Netflix shows. The problem is nothing went upstream. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, all that stuff it didn't go upstream. Sometimes we had a few things like the actor for Jarvis appeared in Endgame, that was cool. But most of none of the story elements float. Like that's why like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're always tying in, but nothing actually came back up. And like same thing with the Netflix stuff, like the reference of Battle of New York, I remember in the Netflix promos, like, what if I had a magic hammer? Like, they reference Thor, they reference all these people, but it never went back upstream. Like, for example, the Defender should have showed up in Endgame. Like, they should have, in my opinion.
That would have been cool. But my point is that you could have watched these shows and said, yeah, it takes place after Avengers. It takes place between Avengers and Infinity War, because that way you don't have to explain why don't we ever see the dusting of all these characters.
I mean, and to be fair, these are all like street level stuff.
Yeah, so very little of their stuff would tie into like the multiversal or like the Thanos war that the Avengers fight.
Yeah, like there's no reason for like nothing really has that big of a big lasting impact.
Dave says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Captain Carter were definitely canon at the time with characters from the films, but they won't be recanonized because they sucked and no one remembers them fondly.
If you look at Agent Carter as a miniseries, Agent Carter wasn't that bad.
It was actually pretty good. Honestly.
S.H.I.E.L.D. started off good. Arguably, it peaked when they got to like the tying into the Winter Soldier.
And I think the Quake character is probably one of the better characters that they had. I would love to see Quake appear in the MCU proper.
I think she will.
Wait, did the Inhuman show actually come out, or was it just shelved?
The Inhuman show came out, and it was supposed to. It sucked. It was supposed to tie into the MCU. But it sucks so hard. They're like, "No, we're not gonna put that."
Well, the problem with the Inhumans is they require a movie, like a blockbuster movie level budget to do it properly, and they didn't just get a TV budget. Okay, they didn't get a Game of Thrones TV budget. They got How I Met Your Mother TV show budget.
The other thing is that here's the thing. So, JJheat, what's Medusa's power?
She can contort and stretch her hair.
I know where you're going.
What do they do in the first episode? They shave her head.
But you gotta realize the CG for that is really expensive.
Then don't make it a human show. It's that simple. How is that so hard?
Wait, David.
Wait, hang on.
Hang on.
I have to solo input. Hang on. I have to solo this. If you don't have the budget to make a show look good, don't make the show.
I gotta
get words. 2 words. CW.
Agents of
Agents of Shield
major-
did Ghost Rider right. They did good.
Yeah, they
Rider
did.
correctly.
That was good. And honestly, the CG on Ghost Rider actually looked pretty decent.
Also, like, I also love how they said so the Nick Cage movies might be canon because they very heavily implied he got his powers from Johnny Blaze.
Yeah, and they don't. Except here's the thing: it would have to take place in between 1 and 2 because at the end of 2 he has blue fire.
What if when he transferred his powers, it reverted back?
No, but when we see him when he's approaching Robbie, he has the red fire.
Oh, okay.
So it would have to take place in between those two, which is kind of weird because at one point he lost the spear and then it came back. That could explain why it went crazy in between 1 and 2, though. Hey, that works. I'm telling you, Marvel or DC, hire us and we will make your canon make sense. I know that takes a PhD level intellect.
Yeah.
Agents of Shield as major characters, Deathlock and the Absorbing Man. Yeah, they were able to have some pretty decent characters. But they still. The problem with Agents of Shield is that they started to have weird stuff that should have been canon or should have been referenced once in the movies, and this is when I started to detect that it wasn't canon anymore. Like when that alien showed up and took over Ford's body, and I was like, yeah, that would have brought the Johnny Blaze cameo in Agents looked very. Yeah, it did. That's what I'm saying. It's most likely if you want to fit it, it's in between the two movies because even he had the look that Cage had. I mean, that Blaze had in the Agents of Shield was most similar to his look in movie 1 because if you notice in movie 2, he was more smoky.
All right, fair enough. But so, yeah, they did Ghost Rider right. Yeah, I think that's it.
I absolutely can't. I have no complaints about Ghost Rider, at least in that show. That's why I'm saying really up through the Ghost Rider season, that's when the show is good, I think.
Also, I'm just going to say this. I don't think Thunderbolts is going to come out because like that movie is just getting worse by the day. Like it's clear like Thunderbolts is basically just they're doing like a bad Suicide Squad ripoff, and they can't hire James Gunn to do it.
That would be great if he went back to Marvel, but yeah, they can't do that. It's not. It's the thing about it. It would be one thing if they like had like see the problem with their lineup of the Thunderbolts is that it just looks like the MCU rejects, plus a couple of great characters like Bucky and Yelena and John Walker, but the rest of them are like minor characters that barely anyone talks about anymore.
Plus it's like you have 2 super soldiers on the team. You have Red Guardian and then you have US Agent. Like from a writing perspective, that's just superfluous.
Yeah. Oh, Dave. The writing in Agents was pretty bad and boring overall. Joss Whedon's brother was the showrunner, if I recall. Never trust a Whedon.
Yeah, Jed Whedon.
All right. I have to play this.
Why did you say that name?
I mean, to be fair, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was kind of created by Joss Whedon. It is very much a Whedon show.
Atchison. I don't want it now since I know they can't pull up. I love a Squadron Supreme movie directed by Zack Snyder.
Oh, someone's pandering to Jared.
Zack Snyder's Squadron Supreme. That's what they have to call it.
Oh my
God. I'm
Jared,
telling you, just do it.
Jared, I just want to grab my portal gun, take you to the alternate universe where that movie is showing, and then we just go and
take
see
me
it.
To the alternate universe. Take me to the alternate universe where Warner Brothers actually was a good studio and let Zack finish his story. Take me to that one.
That universe does not exist. That universe. I'm sorry, I've looked through.
Do you know why it's not? Do you know what?
Quadrillion universes,
Nick,
and not one of them.
Nick, do you know why it's not in the multiverse? Because we live on that Earth, and it's gonna happen.
Your enthusiasm is intoxicating, brother.
So let's transition to our next topic. So I have Deadpool, Eisners, and a Crisis.
Let's get Crisis out of the way because I got some things I gotta say.
Okay, so but Nick, do you care about spoilers for Crisis?
I do not.
Okay, well, to transition to this topic, I literally could not come up with a better transition for this. So, okay, I have to tell the story. So Britt and I were DMing one day, and I told her she was complaining about Twitter people, and I literally said, "Don't worry, Britt. We'll get her a moment. They'll get their comeuppance." Teladia texts me an hour later. "Hey, Jared, just want to let you know I watched Crisis, and Earth 2, Superman, and Wonder Woman are together." And I said, "Come again?" I told Britt, she didn't believe it. And then someone sent her photos of them kissing. She's like, "Oh my gosh, they're kissing!" And I was like,
Wait, do you have the
What?
photos?
"Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Here."
All right, roll the
This
photos.
is going to be a rant for
Actually,
10, 15
I
minutes.
even have the clip from the
Show
movie.
the
I'm going to
clip.
play it without sound.
We're so getting copyrighted.
No, because it's not sound. So let me
And I
pull it
think
up.
this might be one instance where Jared's like, screw it, I don't mind if
I'll
they
risk
copyright
it. Oh, real quick. I just want to put this. DC dissed Prime Earth Superman. Are you ready?
What?
Huh?
So you have Earth 2 Superman and the Superman Man of Tomorrow Superman, the one that we have followed in Tomorrowverse. Ready?
Mhm.
They called the Tomorrowverse Superman Superboy. That's the one that's with Lois Lane. So it's like they're saying you don't become Superman until you're with Wonder Woman.
Now you're a man.
I
I'm
told
pretty
Britt,
sure that's just a
Britt-
typo.
No. By the way, that's on DC's Facebook page. So it's not like that was like some random Photoshop job. No, that's real. That is real, my friends. That is real.
Oh.
Yes, it's real and it is fantastic.
It's almost, yes, thank you. It's real and it's spectacular. All right, so hang on. I'm gonna do this. Let me do this. All right. This is not gonna have sound, but I wanna actually it may have sound to share this tab instead. No, it won't. All right. So here, I'll play it. Ignore the animation.
Excuse me. Are you a sight for sore
He
eyes?
says, "Are you a sight for sore eyes?" She smiles. Wait for it.
Ooh!
Yes. So the
Can we get a
story
second-
is.
Can we
Yeah,
get a second, Warner Brothers?
No, I'm going to give you a better clip. This is a better clip. And I couldn't think of a better occasion to wear this shirt.
The only way better is if you're wearing like a button-up shirt and you would have been like ripped it open like Superman.
Yeah, but so the story is, so in the Justice Society movie, Nick, Steve Trevor dies. And Wonder Woman is what inspires Superman to come out of his shell and become Superman. So what they say is in the movie that so Superman was with Lois Lane, but again, because the Justice Society movie was in World War II, eventually Lois died of old age, and Superman and Wonder Woman eventually got together, kind of like Kingdom Come. Plot twist: Wonder Woman's Lois Lane is Lois Lane that universe. Jared's conflicted. No, because that would mean she is Superwoman from Earth 3.
So imagine like a DC writer, they see this and they actually do make a story of that just to piss you off.
If they do that, I would be like, just write Earth 3, because that's, correct me if I'm wrong, JJheat, but isn't a Superwoman of Earth 3 the evil Wonder Woman named Lois Lane?
I want to say that's her old.
Funny how that works out, isn't it? Yeah. So what did DC mean by that? He means by the Superboy thing. I don't know. What I really want to talk about real quick, and then we'll get to Crisis, the fan base, particularly the Lois and Wonderbat fan base. And Britt, you're in the chat. You can testify to this. They are having a mental conniption. Like, oh, wait. It's a 40-second clip, Nick, and that's being talked about more than the entire movie.
Let's just say I think Warner Brothers knew exactly what they were doing.
Which makes the question, they keep doing this because this is the second animated universe in a row, mind you, that has Superman and Wonder Woman in some form together.
But I feel like the going the Kingdom Come route was more acceptable, unless you want to see
No, it's not acceptable. They're calling him adulterous.
What?
Huh?
Because there was this complete and utter ass of a story called Immortal Beloved, where
I remember this.
It's notorious with the SuperWonder fandom. So the premise of the story, Nick, is maybe you've heard of it. Wonder Woman has to go to Asgard to fight in a war for 2,000 years, so she calls Superman to come fight with her. So they're there for 2,000 years. As far as they know, everyone else is dead. So they have this moment where Wonder Woman practically offers herself to him, and he goes, "Oh man, even in death, it'll always be Lois."
So here's the thing. That's one continuity. This is not that Superman.
I know! It's not even the main continuity. It's Superman. Oh, and the fun part, guess this. So in the Tomorrowverse, Superman and Wonder Woman kissed before Superman and Lois.
God, I love this timeline.
I honestly, here's the thing. I'm starting to like the Tomorrowverse even more.
The animation
it's going to end after this for James Gunn, so...
I will talk about this animated universe forever in that case.
But
yes, they made some questionable decisions, mostly in the Green Lantern movie, but that they had the balls to do that. Anyway, what were we gonna say, JJheat?
I'm just gonna say it. If you're gonna adapt arguably the most impactful storyline in the history of the industry, this really should have been a self-contained or Elseworld movie. You really didn't have to stack Tomorrowverse. I get it for synergy purposes with James Gunn. If you were going to wrap up the Tomorrowverse, Crisis was probably the best way to go about it. But was making Constantine Bloody Pariah really necessary?
Oh, yeah, Nick, that's how they link it to... They actually link it to the DC AMU. Because so the way Apocalypse War ends is Constantine makes Flash go and start another Flashpoint to reboot everything. Now, what happens is Constantine still remembers the previous universe, and he was originally put in like a prison in his head by the Spectre, but he escaped and essentially was driven insane. And he's in this universe. He's in the Tomorrowverse, and he keeps saying the world's gonna end. It's all gonna blow up, and then the crisis starts.
Okay.
So they do link these two universes together. So I'm like, okay. Dave the Impaler says, I'm wondering if these crisis movies will actually bring in characters from the DC AU, Young Justice, Snyderverse, etc. I'm not sure they will. I don't think so. But since there's three, it's supposed to be the first of a trilogy. They could. The fact that DC and Twitter act like DC, it's not DC, it's just Twitter. The fact that Twitter acts like DC's two most kind-hearted heroes being together is the worst thing ever, says something. There are actually people.
Oh, Injustice is a lot to blame for that. I'll go ahead and attest that right now. A lot of that is Injustice.
Yeah, and by the way, a shameless plug, Britt and I are going to tear that storyline apart. But by the way, there are actually people tweeting that they're worried that because that they did it in this, that means they're also going to do it in the DCU. And I'm like, that'll be interesting. I don't think they're going to do it, but that would be hilarious. And by the way, Dave, Psycho Pirate is in the movie.
Yeah, Psycho Pirate is in the movie.
Now,
Pariah, okay, quick backstory time. I'll make this as quick as possible.
Yeah,
Pariah is basically someone a scientist in a distant Earth who basically broke the barrier between matter and antimatter. He tapped with larger powers he shouldn't have. He broke the dimensional barrier. The crisis ensued, and basically living perpetual limbo was his punishment. Then fast forward 35 years, he goes insane. And we get Dark Crisis, but that's a story for a different stream.
Okay, you know what, JJheat? I'm going to have to play this again because you just mentioned that event.
Why did you say that name?
It's not like I put the infamous 2 letters behind it.
I know. But
Don't tempt me.
The thing about this movie is that it's primarily a Flash movie. I'm gonna come out and say it. It's primarily a Flash movie. And the thing about it is that you see Flash like traveling through the timeline. We see the formation of the Justice League in this universe. We see what led to that, which that's kind of cool. And what's what's cool about they make some questionable changes. Like Nick, do you know who Harbinger is from Crisis?
Vaguely.
She's the assistant to the Monitor, who's basically like recruits all the heroes. In this movie, they make it Supergirl.
Well, I'm going ahead and tell you that's going to lead into part 2, basically, because spoilers for a almost 40-year-old comic, but Harbinger eventually turns to the dark side for the sake of simplicity, is corrupted by the Anti-Monitor, then kills the Monitor halfway through the story.
So you could say she has a dark side war.
Get
That was
him
one
the
that knows
frick
even
out of
for you,
here.
Yeah, dude. It's my show. I can't be knocked out.
But at least my personal theory going into that, because spoilers, back away now. I'll give you a few seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the end of part 1, the 31st century and the Legion gets erased.
Yeah, so there is that. And the other thing is, I think what they'll do is they'll do the whole Harbinger turns bad like plot point in part 2, and then kill her at the end of part 2. Because remember, that's kind of one of the most famous parts of Crisis is Supergirl dying.
Yeah, they're just condensing roles, probably.
Yeah, really what this movie is doing and is that this is going by interesting rules for adaptation, but it's doing it in a way that I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's the idea that we take the basic plot points of the story and then we just go from there. Now, Dave goes, I wonder if they'll bring back Hal Jordan as Parallax and tie in 0 Hour Final Night. That they could do, because that was one of the questionable decisions from the Green Lantern animated movie universe, but we'll see. The Tomorrowverse, just like the previous universe, has been a mixed bag. Although I would argue the DC AMU, for the most part, was better.
Andy Campbell gave you proper setup and payoffs. Now, granted, it was playing safe.
Off screen!
You're never going to let that go, are you?
No, I'm not.
Relying on too much on Batman and Batman adjacent characters, Damian Wayne / Stuart Allen getting a lot of the spotlight.
SuperWonder off screen.
Okay, what was worse, that off-screen breakup or Superman Wonder Woman Volume 4 with Tomasi?
Off screen, because at least the Tomasi thing was a story that I could see.
Oh, Jared, you're adorable.
As much as I can't stand Tomasi on that book, at least he told a story. They were just like, nah, we're just going to erase everything because we think Lois Lane is more important to Death of Superman than she actually is.
Technically, at least when you get to Reign, it is more of a Lois Lane story. Reign specific.
Yeah, but Death, that's the problem. Because I've always said, well, here's the thing. And Adjustin said this. Why are they taking new 52 characters and putting them in post-crisis stories?
Because they want to.
Because they want to. That's the problem. Because can you imagine, JJheat, if instead of Doomsday, of the Death of Superman, which is overplayed at this point because you already had a Death of Superman anime movie, can you imagine if they did the Doom storyline instead?
There's virtually no difference between Death of Superman and Superman Doom. There's virtually no
Superman
difference.
doesn't actually die.
That is true.
That's my point.
Can longer, but I feel like they were told Rebirth.
They were.
That was That was 2
me.
years of fan service and goodwill commercially.
The DC
As
should
a
continue longer, but I feel like it's yes. Another way DC Rebirth screwed me.
You couldn't have worded that worse if you tried, Jared.
I'm so sorry.
No, I am not.
No, but Rebirth was overrated. Yes, it actually was not the sales juggernaut that everyone thinks it is. There were some good books in Rebirth, like I still stand behind Green Lanterns. Green Lantern from Jeff Johns until Morrison was perfect. And arguably now it's back to being awesome.
Now, I will say this much. DC Rebirth was doing a lot better than what Marvel was doing with Marvel Now and All New, All Different. The sales with Marvel were...
But here's the thing, JJheat. That wasn't that hard. It's not like they actually had to think that hard. Randy says, Close and SuperWonder should both be showcased equally. It is not right for a fan base to be deprived of a story that they like. the thing about the Clovis thing is that it's been overplayed constantly.
It's
To the po-
established. It's iconic.
Yeah, but but here's the thing: there's a reason why the Superman Wonder Woman book outsold like gangbusters, and that's because the newer generation of fans coming in, for the most part, unless you like force them to, they find Lois annoying.
I mean, that's
That's
they're
true.
smart.
I'll
so.
give you that. I'll give you that.
It's not that
There's-
hard. And the thing is, just because it's always been a certain way, and we said this on the members only stream, just because it's been this way forever doesn't mean it's the right way to do things. Because remember, there was a time period where like Superman could carry planets on a chain. They undid that.
Well, I think that was a bad idea. But
I think that was a bad idea because I would love to see Superman fighting Darkseid and he just whips a planet at him.
Now, Dave the Impaler. Okay, first of all, that movie is
Mhm.
arguably the worst out of all the DC original animated movies.
Mhm.
And second, that was more Death of Superman with a little bit of rain sprinkled at the very end.
But done horribly.
And
I
even
rest my case.
yeah, there's really no defending that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just didn't. It was they were trying to do like the Timverse, but not, because the character designs were clearly inspired by the DCAU, but not. But it's so going back to Crisis. So let's talk about the actual movie. So JHeat, I enjoyed Crisis. Did you, for the most part, enjoy it, or was it all crap for you?
I enjoyed it for the most part. I give it a solid 7 out of 10.
That's
Now,
fair.
I did nitpick Constantine being pariah. I did kind of nitpick that, but it was set up. But it was for setup purposes. But I feel like Crisis's biggest problem is the fact that Tomorrowverse wasn't really executed very well. They didn't put in the work,
And it's ending way too soon.
but a lot of that is due to corporate synergy. So I think the animation division at Warner Brothers and DC are just making the best out of a bad situation.
Well, the problem with the Tomorrowverse, I think people would have been a little more open to it if the animation was better.
Yeah.
But again, the Archer style does blend well with Crisis.
Yeah, I know. It's a little better in this movie because there are some scenes that you could tell they put a lot of budget into it, like the Flash scenes. Arguably, the Flash scenes in this movie look better than the Flash scenes in the Flash movie. But the thing about it is that just a lot of the animation just looks stiff. That's my issue with it.
That's my thing. It's like the animation it looks terrible. I'm just gonna go out and say it looks terrible.
Yeah, it's not the best. And then here's the thing though. Also considering what Sam said when we had him on the show about how they don't get that much of a budget, I kind of understand it. That's why I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily talk about that much because I get why. It was too condensed, but it was their first attempt. Yeah, exactly.
I even heard a rumor back in the day that Superman Doomsday was originally supposed to be a direct Justice League adaptation. Because the episode we got was where Superman gets launched into the future with Vandal Savage, but they actually were going to directly use Doomsday in the DCAU for that episode.
And then when they did use him, they made him talk.
They kind of made him a stooge for the Cadmus saga, but that's a separate video in its entirety.
It's worse than that. It'd be one thing if he talked like the Hulk. I would still hate it, but I wouldn't be like as against it. But he talks like Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, they definitely redeemed themselves with Justice League New Frontier. That's arguably one of the best.
Oh yes, 100%. DCU Doomsday was awful. Thank you. And arguably DCU Wonder Woman was awful.
She was barely utilized and was just used as a prop for Batman. Even I have to admit that.
Thank you. And they changed, and then Nick, you'll remember this. Hey, JHeat, remember when they made Hades her father?
Kill me now, please.
The reason
We're
why
so
I'm
good at pitching
advocating
all the
for
time.
both Lois and SuperWonder is to give the audience options, even though you and I know that SuperWonder is better. They did, because here's the thing. New 52 showed that because let me put it this way: they had more consistent from a sales perspective and a critical perspective. The Super Wonder book from New 52 showed that the audience prefers one over the other. Now, what they could have done, Randy, which I think would be the best option, and we can talk about this right now, is if they're doing that Ultimate Universe. In the Ultimate Universe, they put Superman with Wonder Woman, because that way both sides have it.
But wouldn't that just be a revamp of the New 52 at that point?
No, I'm saying you use the New 52 as a template, improve upon it, actually have a plan. But my point is, that's one of the ways you could really make your DC's Ultimate Universe different from their main universe and make it demonstrably different, is by placing Superman with Wonder Woman instead of with Lois Lane in this universe.
And if you want to see a prompt compromise in canon, check out the New Direction verse.
Yes, but essentially, hire us and we'll do it. We'll definitely.
We've already done it.
We've already done it. So all we have to do is get a creative team together, and we got it. I'm in a minority. I'm not the biggest fan of the New Frontier movie, but I love the comic. The movie cut out too much. That's true. And they cut out Superman and Wonder Woman kissing, and they gave her the best Wonder Woman lines to Lois. That's one of the things that made me really dislike Lois, is the way that DC takes lines that were Wonder Woman's lines and gives them to Lois in the animated movies.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna bash Lois Lane here. Like, she works for the role she was given. She's the love interest, she's the damsel. She always has Superman on standby to help her out of a jam. And I mean that in the most appropriate way possible, Nick. Do not shrewd my words.
And by the way, so Mark Waid was being interviewed. I know I have to mention his name, but I'm going to read an interview. I'm going to read a short thing about what Mark Waid said. So Mark Waid admits that the superhero comics market is soft right now. Doesn't know if it's in desperate trouble, but it's in some trouble. He rejects the idea that wokeness is what's killing comics. Okay.
Of course he does.
Yeah. But then he says, the idea of the vivid civilian supporting cast is not as important as it used to be, meaning that having all these civilians in the books is not working anymore.
Having civilian background characters was used for inversion, or actually relate to the characters as the event was happening. And that's a good tactic in storytelling, but it's a backdrop piece at best. Yeah. If you focus more on the action, you really wouldn't need the background characters that much.
Yeah, it really, the background characters are really the padding. They just use that so they can get from one action scene to the other. That's what they use them for. They are glorified padding. But that's just me. But all right, and so going back to Crisis. So all right. So JJheat, let me ask you this: what do you think the Crisis movie does well? Let's start with that.
Definitely Barry's sacrifice. Now, you could argue with the DeCamu, Barry didn't get that big of a punishment because he's the one who pretty much held the world in time or altered the timeline on 3 separate occasions, including this film. The original Flashpoint, when he and Constantine conspired to erase the DeCamu by preventing it from happening. And then in this film, spoilers, by the way, to where he pretty much creates a time vault around him and Lois before reality is erased.
Him and Iris.
Excuse me, Barry and Iris. God, that's supporting. Seriously,
by
Iris
the way,
is a version of...
Yeah, she basically is. This movie implies that this is his punishment for Flashpoint 1 and 2. That he dies because it's a punishment for him going back for the second Flashpoint.
Constantine was left to suffer, albeit due to his own self-loathing, and the House of Mystery was basically purged from existence and then reconstituted as literally a stand-in pariah. And all Barry gets is his original sacrifice scene in Crisis, which was going to happen anyway? True. I'd say Barry got off easy.
But by the way, Nick, so there was this funny scene. So they show the crime syndicate's Earth. And what's kind of funny is that the world is like exploding around them because of the antimatter wave that's wiping out the universe. So this building was going to fall on the crime syndicate statue, so Ultraman catches it and stops it. You think he's saving civilians, but he just makes the building fall in the other direction so it doesn't fall on their statues.
Wow.
He basically pulls a Homelander. And what's kind of funny is that they actually try and fight the antimatter wall. Like Superwoman is throwing cars at the wave that's coming at them. And they're like, it's not working. Of course it's not working. Mark Waid is a known psychopath who was kicked out of Hollywood because no one ever wants to work with him. I bet he dived headfirst into supporting wokeness because he wanted on the good side. Probably. I just really curious on how it's going to end. Yeah, me too. It'll definitely be interesting to see how they do this. It'll be kind of funny because at the end of Crisis, isn't that when the Superman and Lois are supposed to go into the paradise dimension?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great if they put Superman and Wonder Woman in the paradise dimension so that they're not even killed or reset?
I mean, I don't really see them actually adapting Infinite Crisis, but yeah, you could swap out Lois for Diana in that context.
No, I'm saying you don't have to do Infinite Crisis. Just put them in that dimension and just say they lived happily ever after or something like that. But now let me ask you guys this. Since this is the end of the Tomorrowverse, let's give DC some advice for their next animated universe. Let's say they do one not tied into James Gunn's universe, because obviously he'll do animated, because I don't think the next one is going to be wholly tied into James's universe. I think he'll do animated movies tied in, but I think they'll do a separate animated thing as well.
I don't know. Like,
that'd be hard to judge.
The guy literally said that the Arkhamverse is canon. So
no, he never said that, Nick. I've said this many times. He never said that.
But he did say the DC games will be canon.
He said the DC games will be canon. He never said anything about Arkham.
Well, my point still stands. He said the DC games are going to be canon. So there is no bounds to this man's ego.
But then he said some things won't be canon as well.
There are going to be a few Elseworlds.
He said they're not. So anyway, I'm not going to put words in his mouth. So that's all I'm saying.
The Elseworlds are going to be canon. So like, I would not be surprised if the animated universe is canon to his universe.
Mm-hmm.
The exceptions are like one-off stories of animated Elseworlds. But the thing is, the canon is the norm.
We'll see. But let's say he doesn't do that. How do we make this animated universe, the next animated universe, work? In other words, how do we avoid the mistakes of the past? I'll start with Nick.
Fire James Gunn.
No, we can't do that, Nick. Be serious. How do we make the next animated universe successful?
Actually give them the budget and the time to do what they need to do.
That's true. Actually have a plan, like have a long story and say, okay, so here's what we want to do. Here's our central threat that we're going to weave through it. And then here are the movies that we would like to make to accomplish that. Yep. Just do that. What about you, JJheat?
As for me, I'd go strictly the TV show route. Start with what always worked before with DCAU and even Young Justice to a degree. But because that way you have a bit more consensus, you're actually able to take your time and build throughout a span of episodes. Because what the Tomorrowverse tried to do, basically a TV show structure in a film format, and objectively it just doesn't work, because unless at least not within the span of an hour and a half. So unless you're going to make these 2-hour films to compensate for that lack of padding and world building, it just becomes, we get bland results, such as Green Lantern Beware My Power, outside the occasional fan service, and especially Supergirl Legion of the Superheroes. And the whole twist villain aspect didn't do them any favors.
Yeah, the problem with the Green Lantern one is that they passed up an opportunity, because what they could have done is because they were clearly adapting a form of Emerald Twilight. They could have adapted the rebirth portion where Hal redeems himself and saves the universe again, instead of killing him. But that was stupid. Dave says, I want a crime syndicate movie that portrays their universe the same as Grant Morrison's Earth 2 graphic novel, where good and evil are really reversed and the crime syndicate aren't truly bad guys. That's a great idea. That would be a really cool Elseworlds one, because we've never really done a deep dive into Earth 3, I don't think.
Not extensively. And fun fact, the Seven were inspired by the crime syndicate. Fun fact.
Oh, really? That's cool. I would say just bring back the DCAU as a series of films like Justice League vs. Fatal 5, but they probably never will because Kevin Conroy's gone. if they were to do that, which they're probably not, again, because of Kevin Conroy, I agree with you, Dave, but if they were, they would probably have Bruce Greenwood take over as Batman because he is the closest to Conroy.
You're ever going to
Yeah, but if you're going to return to the DCAU, and Kevin Conroy was a DCAU.
He was. That's why I'm saying they're not going to do it.
Young Justice is more likely than DCAU. Like, I'm just being honest.
That's what they could. Well, what they should do at the very least, what they could do as an Elseworld story, and Tevye is going to love me for this one, just do a movie that wraps up Young Justice. Just do that.
Basically, Trouble in Tokyo, but with Young Justice.
Now, if it's popular, if it like explodes, which it probably won't, but if it does really well, you could expand and do like more movies or like another show. But you can use that to like both end the show in a way that it leaves it open, but you can also test the waters. In my opinion, they should decide if they want to make original stories or straight adaptations of the comics.
Now, I see Edson. I apologize if I mispronounced your profile, but I see where you're coming from. When you had the original DC animated original movies projects, you had direct adaptations for the most part, and the majority of them were solid, minus Superman Doomsday. That was Garbaje. But even so,
hey, I love that. Nice.
But even more so, there was only so much you can do with a direct play-by-play adaptation. It limits creativity and larger nuance with modern settings, i.e. adapting Judas Contract. Now, adapting Judas Contract in the DCAMU, that's one of the few I will applaud because some commentary in that original storyline.
Don't let Pika hear you say that.
Okay, as the resident Teen Titans fan, I gotta say, they really butchered that storyline.
Thank you. That's all I'm trying to say.
Because the whole thing was it was Deathstroke versus Nightwing, and like they tried to like turn it on to Damian, and like it didn't really work because like there's like that version of Death. Like first off, I will say that version of Deathstroke being voiced by Miguel Ferrer, awesome, amazing voice for Deathstroke. First and foremost,
I liked him.
Okay, but like continue. Also Tara as a character is a slow burn character, and the problem with like I feel like the Teen Titans cartoon show did the Judas Contract storyline really well.
Yep, I agree.
But like the thing is, you needed to have Tara be like Tara should have been there for Justice League versus Teen Titans. Also, they made Tara and kind of like this nasty little piece of crap. Where it's like, okay, she's evil. I don't care. But, like, yes, she was kind of nasty even in the comics, but still, it's like, I don't know. Like,
well, here's the other problem of them framing the Judas Contract as Damian versus Deathstroke. It has nothing to do with the Judas Contract. Are you ready? Damian versus Deathstroke is literally the plot of the Son of Batman movie. So you just recycle plots. I know, right? That's literally the conflict of the. So they basically, I don't know where JJheat went, but they literally took it and then readapted it.
Oh jeez.
I know, isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, please. Oh, sorry, it's just us now.
Yeah, all right. But that's the other issue, ignoring the butchering of the Judas Contract storyline. And Nick, I'll take your word for it because as of yet, I haven't read that storyline.
You never
will. But hey, Nick and I are going to cover that. Nick and I are going to cover that storyline. My point is, I haven't covered it yet. I'm excited to because I've always wanted to.
Sorry, guys, I glitched out for a second. But my feelings on Judas Contract.
Dave,
really,
that's
Dave?
a good one.
Really?
That's a good one.
You've been holding that one in, haven't you, Dave? Go on.
My gosh.
To be fair, in the original comic book, it was heavily implied that he was screwing.
It was never confirmed.
Implied, though.
Heavily.
But anyway, what were you gonna say, JJheat?
As I was going to say, now trying to replicate the whole Nightwing and Deathstroke Nemesis angle with Deathstroke and Damian, That didn't work. You want to debut Damien as a breakout character, fine. But Judas Contract, for all intents and purposes, is Nightwing's story. Hell, Grayson officially adopts and rebrands into the Nightwing persona just before the storyline comes out.
Actually, no, it happens. No, it happens during. Like basically,
during
like,
it. Okay.
Basically, it's like a third act, kind of like I'm Nightwing now, kind of thing.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up for me, Nick. But it just doesn't work yet. Now I get it in the context of the Camus. Slade pulled the power play against Raish in the League of Assassins. Damian wanted revenge. But that's a separate beef in of itself. That in a situation like that, that's more of a profound hunter or mercenary, the one contract that got away. What happened in the context of Judas Contract is a borderline blood feud with what happened with the original Ravager, Grant Wilson, not to be confused with Rose Wilson, who took a contract with Brother Blood / Hive. He was exposed to a chemical similar to the one that granted Deathstroke's healing factor and triggered basically his version of a super soldier serum. Grant had complications, and he succumbed to said complications. And Slade lashed out. He blamed the victim. Basically he resents the Titans for what happened, for not containing the fight sooner.
Also, Also, there's also his other son,
Jericho.
Jericho.
He did get a cameo though. He did get a cameo.
Yeah, and Titans actually, I think they did.
I was about to say Titans did actually a decent job of adapting the story.
Yes and no. I still think, as far as adaptations, I think the Teen Titans 2003 did the best version.
That's the best. But I said, but what I'm saying is that Titans did an okay job at best.
To me, the DeCamo version is offensively bad.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans
Live
version
action
is meh. Yeah, live action, because
Okay.
basically you have Rose Wilson being the Rose is the Terra of the story, but outside of it not being Terra, I think like that's fine. But it's not bad. It's meh, in my opinion.
Okay.
And even I know we're going all over the place with the DeCamu, but even in the context of the DeCamu, I get you wanted this all plays a role in Damien's arc, and Damien gets taken down a peg in this film going forward. But half of this is literally just Starfire transitioning into the main leader of the team, and Grayson just wants to take the next step, for lack of a better term, without getting caught blocked by his younger brother. That is literally.
And here's the thing.
Wait, are we talking to Camu?
Yes, we're talking to Camu.
Starfire was already the leader of the Titans by Justice League vs. Teen Titans. Like, in fact, it's if you by context, like he's been leader of the Teen Titans for a while.
Yeah, she was.
They were moving in together. Okay, my mistake. But still, they kind of threw Damien under the bus.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, if you wanted to give Damien a redemption arc, there's plenty of Damien stories in the New 52 to bring up Atchison's thing. He brings up that this again proves why. He says this again proves the point that the DCAMU should have just stuck to doing New 52 stories, because it was a universe that the foundation was New 52. The problem with the way they handled the universe is that they treated it like you could just put any version of Superman in the Death of Superman movie, or any version of Batman into Hush, and it works. Well, the problem with Hush is that it was accurate literally up until they reveal who Hush is.
Yeah.
That's where, because that's the sad thing about Hush. It is a solid adaptation literally up until that point.
The thing about the Camu that I like is the Camu actually treated Damien really well. Like Damien actually got a extremely, like, the Camu actually got me to like Damien, because I did not like Damien because I thought he was like an arrogant, nasty little piece of crap. But what I liked is he actually softened up over time, and it was a natural curve. Like his one of my favorite Damien moments is from Justice League vs. Teen Titans. Is that he's facing on Troc and he says, "I'm a Titan." Like, that's character growth, baby.
Well, there's also a moment in Apocalypse War where he basically, so what Darkseid does to Batman is he puts him on the Mobius chair and then like brainwashes him to be a servant of Darkseid. So Batman is fighting Damian and he has him like on the ropes, and Darkseid basically tells him to kill him. And then what snaps Batman out of the mind control. It's similar to BVS, except it's not as like in your face.
Why
as
did you
BVS.
say that name?
Well, kind of. What they do is that so Batman has a sword at Damian's throat, but then he flashes and he remembers Joe Chill with a gun to his face. So he's like and then Batman Darkseid tries to shoot Batman with the Omega beams, but what happens is Damian jumps in front of them and takes him for his father. Yes, thank you, JJheat. And as he's dying, obviously he doesn't die because Raven brings it back. He goes, he basically thanks his father for treating with kindness, and then he goes to Batman. Remember, justice, not vengeance.
That catch line never really took off, in my opinion.
No, but in that moment, it works.
But and to respond to Dave the Impaler, technically, there's a lot of subtext hidden and things change.
Mm-hmm.
But Tara, you could argue she was brought back after the events of season 4. But she just didn't want anything to do with the superhero lifestyle at that point. It's not so much she pretended not to recognize Gar. She just didn't want to.
I mean, to be fair, they never
confirmed it.
And I don't know if they were like, I don't like, I feel like they were trying to set up for another season, but like, I don't know, that finale is very contentious, and that's a whole other conversation altogether.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. And I hated the Hush movie. Ruined both Hush and Riddler. Okay. Like,
yeah,
Penguin.
My point is, Hush is good. The Hush movie's good, literally up until that point.
And am I the only one who's a little peeved that they snuck in a reference to Jason as a red herring?
They did?
Yeah, like when Joker says, what happened to the other one? When Joker alludes to to a Robin he's interacted with. That's an obvious nod to Jason.
I don't remember that movie.
It's a deep cut, but you got to listen for it.
Okay, cool. I'll watch it again and listen out for that. Atchison, as he said, I would easily trade Apocalypse War for a true adaptation of Darkseid War. I would too, because that's my favorite DC event of all time. Dave says, "Oh yeah, good subtext and good episode for that series, but it's a strange thing to do with the character." Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
So let's transition to our next topic of the evening. So the Eisners are not going to have a comics journalism award.
Well, this has real Kotaku's journalistic integrity energy to it. And if you get that reference, you are based.
Yeah. The thing about it now, for those of you that don't know, the Eisners are basically the Oscars of the comic book industry. And for the longest time, they had a comics books journalism award. What does it say that they're taking that they're dropping the award? That there's no such thing as comics journalism. Because when you think about it, comics journalism turned into like all these sites rating these books 10s out of 10s just so they can get the next free copy. Hey, what's up, Tavia? We're talking about the Eisners dropping the comics journalism award. In other words, that they're not going to do it. What do you think, JJheat?
As for me, I feel like this has been a long time coming because you don't really have a lot of conflicting opinions and actual true conversation in the comic space. It's either complete discord on Twitter or just shill fluff pieces, for lack of a better term. So I definitely
living together.
Mass hysteria.
Well, here's the thing, though. Nowadays, who really goes to like comic book review sites instead of YouTube?
Because you can literally get the same thing on YouTube. I've even done comic reviews myself a couple of times. I've even did a 4-hour video where me and Nick Lenz, another guy I network with, basically rant about Gotham War. Like,
I literally do a podcast where I review comic books.
Me too.
Jared, we are the future, Jared, not them. They no longer matter.
Yes, exactly. I brought back my comic book commentary show, which, by the way, is doing very well. I really appreciate that, people. Comic book Twitter is always a mess. Yeah. Currently, my my video reviewing the first 4 issues of Tom King's Wonder Woman is doing really well, so I'm very happy about that. Maybe comics journalism can only be as good as the comics that these are. True. YouTubers are basically the only good journalism left. I really appreciate that, Dave. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Dave.
yeah,
Thank you.
yes and no. I'm sorry.
Some YouTubers. We're good. We're good. Heck, me and JJheat ranted on some Son of Kal-El last year and how bad it was. You should have invited me because I hate that book.
It was kind of a last minute stream.
I see how that goes. But it's like, see, and again, it's the same thing of like people that take Rotten Tomatoes opinion seriously. It's the same energy because people all of a sudden are like, you have to get other people's approval before you can like something.
Or even worse, it's like, oh, you haven't seen the thing you're complaining about. You don't have a right to complain about it because you haven't seen it. When like one of the few things we as consumers have is our voting with our wallets, and so not seeing anything is one of the few things we can do to affect things. Yeah, I'm not giving my money just to have a right to complain.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like because here's the thing. You not watching it is your opinion. You're saying it's not worth my time. And you can say, I don't want to watch it because they made creative decisions from what I can see for the marketing that I don't like.
Solo. Excuse me.
Well, yeah. Or just Percy Jackson or like any of that other stuff. Because I watched a little bit of Percy Jackson.
Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, exactly. And yes, JJheat came out. It's very slow. It's closer to the books than the movies were, but they still make a lot of egregious changes.
Oh, we're talking about Scott Pilgrim?
No, we're talking about the Percy Jackson show.
I also like what they did to Annabeth. I mean, come on. I don't care if the author got paid to give it as okay for it. But no, I mean, come on.
The problem is that she's not good. Honestly, she's not that good of an I haven't seen her be as good of an actress. She was kind of there in episode 4, but still, it's like, I don't see this chemistry that you guys were bragging about.
I mean, it's like the whole best right actor for the role argument literally goes out the window.
Yeah, it's like...
Now the movie was better.
That says a lot. Honestly... The movie does a lot more things good. Her being blonde was an important part of her character. It literally describes... Yeah, exactly. It does, but beyond that, ignoring the physical attributes, she barely acts like the character in the book. That's the problem there. And I'm like,
too far into the movie.
It's like an entirely new character that has the same name.
Yeah, it's their OC essentially. I'm sick of these creatives making their own OCs and forcing them on IIPs. Can we please stop that?
Self-insert. What you're saying is self-insert.
Yes, thank you. I hate self-inserts.
There's a difference.
When I say OC, it's mostly I do that in a mocking term because like it's like the whole online community like here's my original OC. It's Sonica but he's purple. Please don't steal.
Yeah. Dave says, do you think the Eisners will ever recognize the Rippaverse, all caps, or other indies? Not the Rippaverse or all caps, because the people that run the Eisners are still... Well, for one thing, CG, no, because like it or not, there's been enough, like... See, the problem is that certain groups have not, like, taken enough of an effort to, like, call out toxicity in the group, to the point where CG is not going to be taken seriously, unfortunately, because there are a lot of great books in there. With Eric, still they're not, because a lot of these groups, a lot of these people that run these award shows are of the type that like to pretend he doesn't exist. And it's the people that it's economically advantageous to them in terms of like networking to not recognize those groups.
You know what, Jared? I think it's time we created a league of our own.
Yeah, we create our own comic book award show. That'd be hilarious.
Also, I just made
Yeah, you just did. But by the way, one of my awards would be worst comic writer of the year, and that would automatically go to either Megan Fitzmartin, Tim Sheridan, or Brian Michael Bendis.
Oh God, the bad trifecta. That is a hard one.
It's hard to pick, but honestly, because I'm a Green Lantern fan, I gotta go with Tim Sheridan this so far. And I think that, and a lot of my other comic book friends agree with me on this, I don't think Tim Sheridan is going to be doing comics that much longer.
Wasn't he a showrunner prior to this? Because I think
he was a showrunner for Warner Brothers before he showed up. And by the way, the very fact that he wrote Teen Titans Academy, that should have been the first red flag.
Just make another Gotham Academy book, like serious.
Can we add Tom Taylor to the list? No, because Dark Knights of Steel was really good.
And Deceased. I got to give it to him.
And Deceased. I'm not... Taylor, as much as I can't stand him, by the way, he has blocked me on Twitter for some reason. As much as I don't like a lot of his decisions in continuity, his out-of-continuity stuff is great.
Keep Tom Taylor in Elseworlds, and you have a good story.
Tevia... one bad series does not define a writer's career.
Arguably, too.
Tevia, just because he did something with a character that you didn't like doesn't mean his other stuff is not worthy of awards. Eric July is completely professional, but they probably perceive him as a huge threat because he's successful despite reject. Yeah, that's what it is, but it's not. But it's not like convenient for them to recognize him yet. I feel like as we start to get more, because I do feel like the pendulum is swinging at least towards being more in the center. So I think that we could see that happen in the future, but for right now, probably not. And I do agree that the Eisners should start recognizing more indies. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, because at least in my opinion, and I definitely want to be on camera for this. The importance, in my opinion, for indies is the fact that you don't have to take the scraps. You don't have to settle for the big two. You could do your own thing, strive for excellence, and if you actually keep an audience, you can maintain an audience and meet goals. Great. These two guys right here actually got their own comic line set up, and they're doing pretty good, at least in my opinion. And I've read both 2100 and Screecher, so be sure to check those out.
I mean, hell, I'm delivering my comics faster than some indies. So,
all I'm saying is,
yeah, go ahead, JJheat.
All I'm saying is that you take the effort. You never know until you try. No matter what happens, at least you tried, and you learned something from it. Because
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because at least the way I'm trying to come across. Don't sacrifice your creativity and your personal nuance for clout or to get ahead. Don't sell out if you can avoid it.
It's just not going to work. But
sell your comic, don't sell out.
Speaking of my indie project, I want to show off some colors that Dawson sent me recently. This is the final color design for Athena in her battle armor.
Nice.
So when are we getting an Athena Yair crossover?
I don't know. I'll talk to Eric. But anyway, what's kind of cool about it is I noticed she has these like fishnet things on the arms. And I talked to Dawson about this and he goes, honestly, I have no idea where those came from. But I said, I like it because it has some Black Canary in there.
I see it.
And what's cool is that she has two swords on her back. And when she fights, the lightning wraps around the sword blade.
Ooh.
Nice. It's kind of like when you're playing an RPG and you have a lightning buff. It's kind of like that. I can see mainstream being forced to recognize Eric July because he's basically the new Image Comics and will continue to grow larger. EVS and Comicsgate is a bigger question mark. Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's more likely they acknowledge Eric.
Imagine when it gets to the point where we start to get talking about like ISOM or Yaira. Adaptations. Like imagine the Daily Wire does an ISOM movie.
They'll pay for it.
And actually, is this going to be some sort of Greek mythology comic? So it's with Athena and the Pantheon universe I'm creating. It's basically kind of. There are elements of Greek myth in there. It's not entirely in Greek mythology. Really, what it is, to a degree, is like expressing my love for DC and Zack Snyder's Justice League. So it's going to be kind of like that. So I'm taking elements from Greek mythology, absolutely, because I freaking love Greek myth. So that's what I do. Speaking of Athena, apparently there's an Athena indie comic a very long time ago, and while it was a comic was bad, I'm excited for your. Thank you. And question: do you think Comicsgate is basically dead and buried? It's not dead and buried, but actually, you know what, Nick, you're more connected in the indie space. What do you think?
Okay, and so just before I go off, I'm not making any definitive statements. I'm just stating my opinion.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Comicsgate is having some trouble. I'm being very careful here.
Mm-hmm.
While Comicsgate started off with the best intentions, like most movements, it kind of fell to infighting, and the problem is Comicsgate wants to be one singular thing, but it's made up of individuals with different beliefs, and like that's why you're starting to see. I'm gonna get heat for saying this. Splinter groups like Iron Age pop up, and all these different kind of movements, and it's just. I'm not saying Iron Age is dead. It's just it's evolving, and the name Comicsgate might go away, but its ethos and the reason it existed will never die.
Yeah, because anyone that makes an indie comic is pretty much going off the thing of like, we're gonna take matters into our own hands because the big two are not pulling it anymore. I love Comicsgate creators, but all the drama has been dragging. Yeah, exactly. It's nuts.
It's been getting really bad, especially with the recent stuff with Yellow Flash kind of coming in now. It's like a 3-way drama. It's just a factualism, and just like, if you like a person, if you like Ethan, you like Eric, you like Yellow Flash, cool. Just make your just shut up and make your comics. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, just make your comics and make a good product. The other thing that the problem with it is that there's also it seems like every week there is an issue. Like when I saw one, there was a debate going on about if the book is good, doesn't matter if it comes 3 years later. And I'm like, to a degree, I can see both sides of the argument, but I do think to a certain degree you have to release the product.
Because that's what people paid for, the investment. It that's a whole other can of worms we could spend hours talking about.
Yeah, trust me. I've dedicated entire streams to like exactly this, but like, yeah, like that's the other side of things. It's like we've gotten so used to like drama streamers or just like, oh, Star Wars sucks, let's rant about it for 5 hours, and nothing ever really changes. And I'm just like, I'm like most people. It's like, Star Wars sucks. Yeah, we all know that. What now?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just kind of just tired of like the bickering, the back and forth. I just want to make my comics and talk to cool people. Jared, JJheat,
yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's why I support the books because they're quality stuff. I don't support everything these guys say, but I still support the books because it's quality stuff. I like EVS's art. That's not going to change. It's just that's the way it's going to work.
Like he's a great artist.
Yeah. And again, I don't agree with everything that goes on in that group, but I recognize good stuff. So anyway, our last thing. So we could be getting a Deadpool 3 trailer coming out in the Super Bowl.
Oh dear God, the leaks have been insane.
Yeah, ooh. I will say that there's more stuff coming out showing him and Wolverine fighting, and it looks glorious.
Also, like the fact that like some MC like Moon Knight might be appearing. We saw his van. Also, the Red Skull's car was spotted.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. And
I love how Ryan Reynolds posted a picture of a Predator, but the fact that it's Disney, like, we might actually get a Predator appear.
I think he posted that as like a refutation of leakers, because I think he also had like the Terminator in there. But that'd be great if like
I mean,
that. Go ahead.
yes, but the fact that it's Disney and like this actually
Yeah,
might happen.
they could. How great would it be if it's like in a Deadpool thing and all of a sudden a Predator shows up, or Deadpool appears in a Predator movie? No, they make a Predator versus Wolverine movie, because they could again. That would be dope. Or
they need to make their Predator Samurai movie first.
Yes, well, yeah, that 100%. This movie sounds like what Multiverse of Madness should have been. Yeah, it kind of is, because when you think about it, the problem with Multiverse of Madness is that it's called Multiverse of Madness. The problem is that the problem with it is they had like one scene where he was going through all the multiverse worlds and they just stayed on like one Earth for the rest of the movie. And I'm like, that's stupid. Anyway, speaking of which, that reminds me, I was wondering, how do you guys feel about Christ and Infinite Earths making your guys' wish come true with SuperWonder Return? We talked about that. We talked about that, but Tevia, I'm going to give you guys an actual representation of what I feel, of what our reaction was when that happened. Where is that clip? I have a perfect clip. It's not the 300 one. I got a better one. So this was my reaction when that happened. I think it's either on this one or it's on Teladia's thing. I don't think it should be here. In the meantime, I got it. This was our reaction.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
Yep. That was at least Britt and I. But anyway, speaking of okay, so we did that. The Yakuza versus Predator duel and Predators was awesome. Best scene in the movie. Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah.
Predators. Yeah, Predators was awesome. The Predator.
Yeah, it's very underrated.
The Predator is the movie where the Predators actually want autism.
Wait, what?
That's the plot of The Predator, the most recent Predator movie, JJheat.
No. The most recent Predator movie was Prey. So, yeah,
well, yeah, I'm saying, sorry. Pre-Prey, the most recent Predator movie was one where the Predator shows up and they want to weaponize autism.
That's what 4chan does.
I know. Nice one, Jake.
Sorry,
nice one,
you literally said weaponized autism.
Nice work. I love that one. Predators is underrated. Yes, I love Predators. Really awesome. That movie's dope. Yeah, that was a pretty bad movie. Like, where's a good clip that's an indicator of that one? Oh, I got it.
He fills out his clothes like lentils fill out a sandwich bag.
You need the J. Jonah Jameson clip. Crap. Mega crap.
Yeah, Prey was good. You know what we really ought to do is cover for movie night Prey. I would love to do that.
Yeah, sure. I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for that. We'll think about. I'll think about what month I want to do that in. Maybe in February. I'm still thinking about that. I'm thinking about in February. I want to do either Red Sun. I want to probably cover Red Sun because I can have Sam on to talk about it.
Okay.
Because he was heavily involved in that. He was involved with that one in Suicide Squad, I think. So we can do either of those. Shane Black's Predator was so disappointing, but to be fair, Fox, yeah, they did interfere with that movie because when you look at like the original plot, it was gonna have humans and predators actually working together, and the predators were actually wearing like military fatigues.
Also, the ending of that movie, like Power Rangers Predator.
Yeah, that was bad, and it was like, oh, the Predator killer, it's a suit, and
go Power Rangers!
No. Go Power Predators!
Go Power! It's Predator time!
Oh God, what have we done?
Yeah.
So many jokes, little time.
Apparently, in the original idea, one of the ideas for what was going to be in that casket was Ellen Ripley.
Yeah, that's a franchise killer right there.
It was either going to be that one or Newt. It was going to be time travel.
Yeah, because Ellen Ripley wasn't even born yet at this time.
Yeah, so they were going to do time travel, and I'm like, well, that's stupid.
Wasn't like I think there was one movie
Or
where,
that it was going to be that one was the other one. It was all the other one it was supposed to be was Dutch.
Yeah, because Dutch was like they did want Dutch to return at some point.
Yeah.
They did reference the first movie in Predators though.
They did, which was dope. And again, Predators is the other movie I really want to talk about. Wasn't the other option was Dutch. Just stick with the classics. Yeah. I'm interested to see what they do with the new Alien movie because as far as I'm concerned, Marvel having the Aliens license has actually been working out pretty well. As far as I'm concerned.
What makes me sad is I wish we could have gotten Neil Blomkamp's Alien movie because like it looked really cool and Sigourney Weaver was going to be part of it.
That would have been dope. I would have loved that. Wait, studios interfere with movies? I'm shocked. I know, right? Randy,
shocked.
Hey, Nick, did Neil Blomkamp do District 9?
Yeah, that was supposed to be the Halo movie.
that was supposed to be a Halo movie. Exactly. I was like, when you get
and if you watch the movie, you can tell it was supposed to be a Halo movie.
And by the way, before you guys ask, Tyler and I will be covering the Halo show as it releases. Oh man,
Jared, what at one point, Peter Jackson was going to do the Halo movie back in 2000s. Can you imagine a Peter Jackson Halo movie coming out in 2008?
Wait, what? That would have been dope.
Yeah, Peter Jackson was supposed to do the Halo movie at one point.
Oh my gosh. There's so many missed opportunities and we got stuck with the stupid show. There are only 2 aliens. 3 is only watchable if you watch the director's cut, as with most movies. I'm also hoping the new Alien movie is good and it doesn't get screwed again. Yeah. Even then, it's still not good. Yeah, Alien 3 is very meh. Aliens 1 and 2 were great.
And Alien Covenant is just a sequel to Prometheus, so...
And Alien Covenant has the stupidest people ever to be in a movie. Yeah, put your head over the alien that the obvious shady android is telling you to. It's really stupid. Speaking of, the season 2 trailer came out, and see the thing about these Halo trailers, which you gotta understand, the first season trailer looked dope. You just have to wait until the show comes out because what they're doing is they're showing you the good stuff. When you actually watch the show, that's when they pile in the BS stuff.
Case in point, Ahsoka season 2 officially confirmed.
But going back to Deadpool, so what? So yeah, I feel like they are gonna do this. I feel like they're treating the movie as like a tribute / assassination of the previous Marvel universe before they bring him into the MCU.
So basically, Deadpool kills the Fox universe.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, they literally
have a giant 20th Century Fox logo there.
I was gonna say that they actually have him fighting over the 20th Century Fox logo. So I think what's gonna happen is that Deadpool's actually gonna blow up Fox headquarters. The Neil Blanc.
No. What he's gonna do? No, here's what he's gonna do: is what Fox headquarters is gonna be? He's gonna blow up Nakatomi Plaza. He's gonna be called Fox. He's like, I'm gonna do it. John McClane couldn't.
Nice. I love that one. The Neil Blomkamp Aliens movie would have been a direct sequel to Aliens that ignored Alien 3, similar to what Halloween 2018 did. So it would have been a good idea, is what you're telling me. I just hope Deadpool 3 has good writing and they don't screw it up. Yeah, I hope that it's more along the lines in terms of writing of Deadpool 1, because Deadpool 2 was not as bad as people think, but it wasn't as good as the first movie.
Oh, definite downgrade. There's no question about that.
Yeah, absolutely a downgrade. But on that note, I think we're going to call it for that one, for this week's episode. This was great. And all in all, we have some stuff to look forward to. We have some stuff to not look forward to. But all in all, I'm excited to see what we have left. So I'll start going around. So, Nick, where can we find you and what have you got coming out on your channel?
All right. You can find me on Twitter at the Phoenix Press. You just search the same. And then tomorrow I'll be doing my Pokemon thing, trying to beat Lieutenant Surge. Monday we got Avatar rewatch. We're wrapping up Avatar. Then the next show is to be determined, and some good stuff on along the way.
By the way, if you guys should show up to those Pokemon streams because we discovered the soundboard. JJheat, it's literally me spamming the air horn every time Nick does anything in the game. So it's like bam, bam, bam. Whenever he makes a joke, I play the crickets. Or whenever he does something bad, I play wah wah wah.
You are literally just trolling this man.
Oh yeah, it's so good. It's really funny.
Oh,
But JJheat, how about you?
As for me, Anime Blaze returns to the channel. This time we're covering Fire Force Season 1. That'll be this Sunday at 8 p.m. EST. And then Monday, as we previously mentioned earlier in the stream, at 7 p.m. Eastern, my official review and live reaction to Gotham Knights. Jared, Teladia, and hopefully Nick will be commentating, interacting with you guys. I'll be on mute, actively watching the show.
No, you can't be on. Well, can
I
we at
have
least
to
hear
that copyright?
Yeah, but can we at least hear your reactions?
Oh, I'll have my webcam on the entire time.
JJheat, have you heard of this thing called headphones?
Yeah,
put
but
your headphones on.
No.
Watch the movie through your headphones.
It is a very miraculous invention. It allows you to hear the show while also talking to us. So put some headphones on.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that a great thing? It's not like it's not like we're all podcasters who all wear headphones every week.
I'll give it a shot.
Devia,
no,
I agree with you
on
on this one. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. In terms of Comics League, Britt and I are tearing apart Injustice, and we're gonna go more in depth on the Crisis movie from the SuperWonder perspective. So obviously, I had to spend a week talking about this because it's huge for us. Movie night is gonna be Matt Reeves' The Batman. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. EST. And in terms of my next commentary, I'm either going to give you guys a channel update for 2024 or I'm thinking of doing another commentary on a comic run. Maybe I'll do a discussion on the current Superman comics. We'll see. Are you also going to cover yeah, we're going to cover everything Injustice, and you'll never see what I'm going to do. They'll never do it present day, but they should do a Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe too as a multiverse movie. They'll never do that, but I agree with you, Dave. That's a fantastic idea.
I'm not.
All right. But in terms of Under Two Capes next week, Bobby, first off, go watch the Under Two Capes episode that we did, that me and Nick and Teladia did. It was all about why superhero gaming, modern-wise, has not been succeeding, and why the Spider-Man games have been succeeding. In other words, what can the other games learn from Spider-Man? And in terms of next week's Under Two Capes, I'm still figuring out what I want to do with that. And if you guys want to become a member, you can hit that button that should be right below, right in next to the subscribe button. And what that gives you is I'm going to be releasing that tomorrow. I'm going to be releasing a video that's basically all of my movies all of the books that I picked up on my LCS for January. I'm going to talk about the ones I'm going to be reviewing. I watched that video. It's fantastic. Oh, thank you. And you're going to get all of my commentary videos a day early. So just wanted to give that plug. So like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think of the topics we discussed today. And stay heroic. And remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. See you later.
Excelsior!